Good evening to you. Mark Sutton with HurricaneTrack.com here. It is 10:27 p.m. Eastern Time. I am down in Marathon in the Florida Keys as we are tracking Tropical Storm Eta. And what an interesting storm this is turning out to be after a very powerful event there in the Caribbean, menacing Nicaragua, Honduras, causing several dozen deaths that we've seen so far. The tremendous flash flooding in that area. And then the couple of days over Central America. Now it is on its way across the Caribbean. After bringing some moderate impacts to the Cayman Islands, we're seeing reports of power outages there and some pretty, it's not a nothing event for the Caymans. It's not the worst thing ever, of course, but certainly have had some impacts in the Cayman Islands now, getting ready to make landfall in Cuba. And then for folks in Florida, especially the southern part of the state, the peninsula, the big question is, what will the impacts be for you? And now I can say for us, because I'm down here. Spent the day today setting up a couple of camera systems, doing a lot of traveling. I will go over that at the end of the discussion. First, let's just take a look at what we know. Eta down here, just about making landfall in Cuba. Air pressure down to 991 millibars. Winds are about 65 miles per hour. And it is moving at a pretty good clip there, 13 miles per hour off to the northeast. The 5-day forecast and the key messages. And this is the interesting thing about this. Things are starting to change again in terms of where this may end up. And I'm going to look at the discussion with you in just a moment from the Hurricane Center. These key messages, the number one thing here is the heavy rainfall, even all the way down to Jamaica. That's possible. Cuba, Jamaica, through the Bahamas, southern Florida, significant and life-threatening flash flooding and river flooding in Cuba. That could be a big problem there. And then that's going to spread through Jamaica, the Bahamas, Florida. And this could even be reaching up to central Florida. Sorry, losing my train of thought. It's okay. It's been a long day. So Bahamas through southern Florida, along with the potential for minor to isolated moderate river flooding, even up here in central Florida, because this is a big system with a big rain shield. Tropical storm conditions expected tonight and Sunday through Cuba, the northwest Bahamas, where the tropical storm warnings are in effect, this area through here. Then, damaging tropical storm force winds by tomorrow afternoon, with hurricane force winds possible. Right there, hurricane force winds possible in the Florida Keys and portions of the southern Florida Peninsula, in the areas where the hurricane watch is in effect. And then a dangerous storm surge is possible as well. We're going to see beach erosion, high waves, problems in some marinas. Small craft definitely need to stay in port and take this seriously. It's a late season novelty. It's different. There's a lot of people down here from up north. The snowbirds have come down south and populated the area again. So people are down here that may not have much experience dealing with these types of systems. And so power outages, a possibility. And really the driving around these metro areas, I would avoid that, seriously. It was, bad enough us trying to drive from where we were in the Palm Bay area to just get down to the Keys. All this rain that we drove through along the I-95 corridor here, that was crazy enough. And I've been doing this for 20-something years, and I generally know what to expect. For those of you that haven't driven in this kind of weather before, it can be very, taxing. Trust me, it's hard. It's hard to deal with, very stressful. So keep that in mind if you have travel plans to the area. Just try to stay put unless you absolutely have to, because there's a lot of people down here, and trying to drive around in all that rain could be a problem. So a couple things to notice here, structurally speaking. Eta does not look that impressive. Definitely some southwesterly shear coming in here and punching it from the southwest. That's why we call it southwesterly shear. But there is some deep convection, and even that's reaching over to parts of Jamaica over here. The Caymans finally starting to clear out for the most part, which is good. And they'll have a good day tomorrow as things improve there. There's Grand Cayman there. And then this is going to cross Cuba and eventually kind of make this turn back towards the Florida Keys in terms of the center. But all of this other weather out here is going to pinwheel into South Florida, the northwest Bahamas, and the winds are already pretty strong coming onshore. This constant onshore flow, this long fetch of wind blowing over hundreds of miles. And you can even see, look at these clouds out here, how they're all moving generally towards the coast. And then these upper level clouds over here, they're going the other way. Some of that's upper level wind shear. And so you got a lot of different things going on overall. And this is a complex setup. And there's a lot of different hazards to pay attention to. So there's no real easy way to explain all this. And also, can you see it in the satellite picture? You get a little bit of an idea of this upper level low sitting over here. It's going to kind of capture Eta and pinwheel it all around. And we're going to see some pretty interesting things over the next few days, I think. We'll see. In fact, I got to bring up the GFS and show you. It's been a long day. I forgot to load everything up. That's all right. We'll get to it. All right, radar real quick, just to show you this. This is a nice national radar. If we click on Key West down here, you get an idea. A few bands of showers and an occasional embedded thunderstorm. But look, here's what I'm talking about. There's I-75 that comes out of South Florida across over to Naples, and it's raining really hard on parts of that. It's raining pretty hard on a good part of I-95, the turnpike down here, and then US 1 that goes down into the Keys. A few rain showers here and there. You just got to be careful. I want you to be safe, okay? No wrecks, no hydroplaning, no going into the other lane and hitting somebody head on. You got to slow down and use common sense and just be very careful out there if you have to travel. All right? Moving up the radar areas a little bit. This is the radar out of, is this Melbourne? Yeah, MLB. Radar out of Melbourne, kind of quiet, which is good. It's going to fill in more tomorrow. This is the radar down in Miami. And you can see this little squall coming in right here towards the downtown Miami area. And this will dump a lot of heavy rain. You're going to have some flooding. And just general, like I said, menacing. It's a great word. We're going to stick with that. Nasty, just rather raw, unpleasant conditions. Not a major problem unless it affects you directly. And then it could be a major problem, depending on what happens with that. What have we been doing today? This is our tracking map. This is part of our HurricaneTrack Insider site, our interactive tracking map. And what have we done today? Well, we've set up these cameras, and I can load those up here, the Nest cams, and then we can zoom in. These are the ones that we have permanently located for now, and hopefully going to add more. But if we zoom in, we get to see where the cameras are. They're far away from the center, which is down, expected to be down here. But we're going to sprinkle some more down across this region tomorrow. What do they look like? Well, here's the one up in Vero Beach. Hopefully it'll load quickly for me. All right, yay. This is up at Vero Beach. We got a nice shelf cloud that came in across this shot. Not even an hour after I set it up. It came off the ocean over here and moved in this direction. Nice little squall moved in. We caught that shelf cloud perfectly outlined. I mean, it was just like I knew it was coming. It was an amazing coincidence. But we'll watch this and we'll see what happens. We expect the waters will get a little bit choppier. That palm tree will probably blow pretty good as the effects of Eta move closer to the area over the next day or so. The other camera we have set up in Boca Raton, down here at the Pavilion. Hopefully this will load quickly for me. Come on, hotel internet. And of course it's dark out there, so you can't see very much, but there's the rough Atlantic. At least it's rougher than it normally is. And this is like a big grouping of, what is that, mangrove, that dense leafy vegetation. I think it's called mangrove. And it's got a pretty nice wide beach over here. And what I want to see is, does the onshore flow come in enough that this ocean gets pushed up? Do we get any encroachment to the edge of the vegetation line here, and we lose all the beach? That's what I want to monitor. I'll be able to watch that in real time. We'll share that with the Hurricane Center, and of course, our crowdfunding folks on Patreon connected to HurricaneTrack Insider can watch this in real time. It's interesting. Just want to tell you this real quick, how much stuff means to me. I met a couple of people down there. Marcel, he helped to set this up. He recommended that spot. And then Jay came down with his wife and child to meet me. They live in that area as well. And that interaction with people in person, I don't have time to stop and just hang out with people for hours on end. We got work to do. of course, and they understand that. But it was really, really nice. Marcel setting it up, scoping out that location, and Jay knew that location as well. He sent me some video from it, that pavilion down there during Isaias. You remember that back in August, way back in August? And that just means a lot to me. You know, the people want to come out and meet us. We had dinner tonight with another couple of very nice people down in the Keys. And that's awesome. I mean, it's like I get to do this as a job. I get to help people. I get to meet the people that we're helping to inform. It's just really neat. So I wanted to just pass that along. It meant a lot to me. So here's the track. On our tracking map, you see the cone of uncertainty. When you see it really large and bulbous like this, that tells you there's a lot of uncertainty in here. Just a little hint. Hint, hint. There's a lot of uncertainty going forward. And you can see the track here of the center is cutting across the Keys. I'm up here in Marathon. And that should bring the worst of the weather into extreme South Florida. But I think that there's a chance that this could turn even sharper and the center heads on out and maybe winds up over here somewhere. Stay tuned as we look at that tomorrow. So there you go. Oh, you know what? I wanted to do one more thing. I forgot. It's okay. I want to read the discussion real quick from the Hurricane Center and just point out a couple things. This forecast discussion, extremely helpful. And tonight was written by Eric Blake. I have met him a couple of times. Really nice guy, family guy. His daughter has the same name as my daughter. I'm not going to say it just to protect privacy, but just a little trivia fact for you. So Eric, oh, somebody's texting me. I forgot to turn that off. It's Brent. Let me just respond. Yes, in about 5 minutes. We got to meet down in the lobby and go over our game plan. And the game plan is going to be based on this discussion right here. So Eric writes tonight that the NOAA Hurricane Hunter found that Eta has continued to strengthen. Pressure down to 991, surface winds at 55 knots. Since the plane has left, as we saw in the satellite imagery, the cloud pattern has not become better organized, and perhaps there is some shear affecting the cyclone. So it stays at 55 knots, which is 65 miles per hour. The storm continues to move to the northeast tonight. While the overall synoptic pattern remains the same, there has been a big change to note with the track forecast, with a notable south and west trend with almost all of the guidance on Sunday and beyond. It appears that the system becomes more involved with a closed low forming near western Cuba tomorrow, which causes a sharper and faster left turn near the Florida Straits or the Keys. Well, it looks like I'm well positioned down here. We're just on a roll this year, aren't we? The new NHC forecast is shifted in that direction, but is well north of the bulk of the guidance due to continuity concerns, and future southward and faster shifts are possible. I should mention that even if the forecast does shift farther south, tropical storm force winds will likely cover much of the southern and central Florida peninsula due to the expected growth of Eta. Beyond Florida, this is one of those times where the track uncertainty is much larger than normal. So check back tomorrow, and we'll see, right? Eta is expected to maintain its intensity before landfall in Cuba, then weaken somewhat. The storm should re-intensify over the Straits of Florida in moderate shear, but with favorable forcing from the upper level low. And it says it was likely to be near or at hurricane strength in the Florida Straits, near Florida. And then over the southeastern Gulf, some dry air entrainment could briefly cause some weakening, but then it is forecast to move very slowly over the warm waters. In fact, a large portion of the guidance actually shows it re-strengthening and becoming a hurricane as it moves farther away from the cooler shelf waters over the loop current. Dude, it is premature to raise the forecast much, but it is bumped up on days 3 and 4. Very, very interesting times ahead, I would say. What does it mean in the long term? I don't know. Sorry, I was trying to bug out here and put this thing up on YouTube. I don't know. It's just, this one is just going to drive us crazy. So the bottom line, follow along, check in tomorrow, get a good night's sleep tonight, but don't worry about this. I keep wanting to emphasize that. I know that everything else going on, we're all under a lot of stress from everything outside influences this year, but Eta, as long as you use common sense and just be smart with your travels. Don't do anything dumb. Be cool, be calm out there, whatever. Use the old noodle, and you'll be just fine, all right? And we'll see what happens. And you'll know, because I'll be talking about it and other people that you trust on the internet. And yes, you can trust some people on the internet. We'll help you. We'll do the best we can. All right? I'll do an update in the morning, and we'll see what we learned overnight. Have a great rest of your Saturday evening. Thanks, as always, for tuning in and listening and watching me. I appreciate it very much. I am Mark Sudduth in the Florida Keys down in Marathon. For HurricaneTrack.com, I'll have some more for you tomorrow.